Hello, 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 hello. I'm going to let some people meander in. I appreciate those of you that are here early. Want to remind everybody this is a live event, so this is Q&A. Encourage you to submit some questions. Today is a Saturday. I spent the last couple days Tufts University at Showball. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Um, Took some video, talked to a lot of college coaches. Um, if you're here in the room and you can hear me, if you can give me a thumbs up or hello, or just let me know you can hear me and make sure my microphone is working. My microphone has been acting up. I would encourage you that if you find your way here and you're on the YouTube platform, please immediately hit a thumbs up, subscribe. Please subscribe. That's easy to do. Leave a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Thank you very much. I'll put my glasses on so I can read. Thank you, Caden. I'm curious about how many student athletes are actually watching. If you are a 2026 through 2028, I'm hopeful that you'll spend some time watching this. For those of you that do find your way to the video, I would encourage you to really watch it through to the end. That does help me in a multitude of ways, but I really am going to start sharing some information, that I've been able to gather over the last several weeks, really since the conclusion of the Division I College World Series, with regard to LSU and Coastal Carolina. I've been able to speak with college coaches, all topics, all levels, from JUCO, Dusty Hart at Gwynn, Jeff Willis at LSU Eunice, all the way up to Division I coaches. And I kind of took some polls, to be honest with you, and I really wanted their feedback because I really wanted to be able to share that with parents as well as student athletes. And so today, you as a viewer are going to assume the role of Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men, Danny, as he was referred to, and I am going to assume the role of Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson. And I am going to be very candid and very upfront. And some of what I'm about to say might upset a few people. I accept that. Can't be straddling the fence. I think it's time for parents to really have a good understanding of what is really going on, what the realities are going forward. Again, these are strictly my opinions. I am not speaking for any particular college coach, any particular college program. I share my views via the Baseball Blue Book. On that topic, I will tell you, after speaking with college coaches, they are very aware of the Blue Book. They are very excited about the Blue Book with regard to the profiles, videos, transcripts that are all available that a lot of student athletes are creating. College coaches are very aware, and they monitor those athletes as they're going through their processes. And so on that note, I would encourage you as a student athlete or a family, there's no such thing as too young. Obviously, 8 through 12, probably not a necessity. But, if you're a family and you really are starting to want to kind of learn and gather information with regard to college athletics, college and universities with regard to academics, things like that, the Blue Book is a really wonderful place to begin. You can share your athletes' contact information, their game videos or instructional video that they're receiving, and college coaches can kind of monitor that. So tonight, again, before we get started, please, this is a live, so if you're watching on Michael, okay, Captain, I know you're down in Florida at Cressy Performance, and you're doing a great job. Thank you for joining me tonight, Michael. I really want to get started with, I made a comment about you as parents, you want the truth. And, I keep going back to parents all the time and keep telling them, do you want to be told what you want to hear, or do you want to be told what you need to hear? Because for some, not all, um, you really want me on this wall. You need me on this wall. Um, and when I tell you in some level, the truth is going to hurt. It's going to hurt with regard to areas of like travel baseball. It's going to hurt with realities of rosters, with the construction of rosters. Um, I don't think there's a unification of college coaches. Every college coach has their opinion on the portal. They all have opinions on how they want to build their program. So I'm going to start there. The first thing that you as parents, need to understand is college coaches, it's nothing personal, it's strictly business. And they are really genuinely looking to put the best roster together each and every year. So I'm going to start at the very top and I'm going to work down. So the very first thing that you need to be keenly aware of is that the influence of Major League Baseball is a very, very real dynamic to the sport of baseball at the collegiate level, all levels, all divisions. And the collective bargaining agreement of 2027, which the new agreement will be put in place. I'm not going to go down the road of lockouts, but I want to start at the top. College baseball is going to be working closely with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has essentially turned over the developmental arm of the 18, or I'll say 18 to 24-year-old student athlete, and they're putting it squarely on the shoulders of college baseball. And for the most part, they're putting it at the Division I level. So if you were to go back and you look at the last 3 or 4 years of Major League draft, you will see the vast majority of athletes that are being drafted are Division I student athletes in their junior and senior years. And then they have cut the rounds down from 40 down to 20. There will be a reduction, or there will be a redesign of the Major League draft in 2027, whether that is including an international draft, whether that's a reduction of rounds, whether that's a restructuring of the minor league system, meaning currently there are 2 A-ball teams, 1 AA, 1 AAA. You could see 1 A-ball, 1 AA, 1 AAA, and you could see a competitive extended spring for some of the draft picks. But there's going to be a reduction, whether it's the rounds, whether it's the teams, and now that's going to have a trickle effect. So I'm going to start there. You have to have a realistic expectation that pro baseball is probably not in your student athlete's future. Yes, it's a great dream. Yes, it's a goal, and your athlete should continue to strive for that. But you have to begin to make decisions at that junior to senior year of high school with the mindset of, okay, what are we looking for with regard to college? And I'm not talking about name, image, and likeness. I'm talking about, what does your college experience look like? Almost to a man, college coaches recognize there will be changes to the portal. Some of them that I've talked with have talked about the possibility of bringing back the one and done transfer window, meaning you can transfer laterally. You get one time to do that. That's in serious discussion. Going back to Major League Baseball, the Major League draft, which is currently a big sticking point for recruiting, and I'll get to that. is looking to be pushed forward back into June. And the college coaches are discussing that with Major League Baseball. There is a lot of discussion between college baseball and Major League Baseball. So expect the draft to get moved back into the June time period, maybe not early June, but maybe mid to latter half of June, and expect the transfer portal to possibly have a one and done component to it. They need to put some guardrails on the portal. That is a big boy decision that has to be made. So as a parent, you have to understand now the rules of engagement have totally changed. College coaches are no longer looking at the younger athletes. They may hear the names, they may see them, but really their windows are at that 17U level. And it's not anything before that. And I'm going to get to that next. But my point to you is, you as parents, the 26, 27, and 28, it's not a matter of trying to worry about exposure. It's not a matter of trying to figure out what colleges may or may not be interested. That should not be even on your radar. So that's something that you as parents really need to understand. So Major League Baseball is going to drive this bus with regard to Division I baseball, and then everything else will trickle down. There's a reorganization of student athletes. There were as many as, close to 6,500 athletes in the portal. I believe the number of Division I spots was between 1,500 and possibly 2,000. And so there's going to be a lot of athletes that have to now Division II, Division III, NAIA for those freshmen. I have a lot of families that I've worked with, Division I DSA students that are going to high-level JUCO. You're going to have to recalibrate the levels that you're really striving for. And again, the questions need to be, what is the college experience that your student athlete is really aspiring? What is attainable? And when does the recruiting process actually start? And I'll tell you, that is actually the completion of your junior year in high school. College coaches are not rushing to evaluate athletes at the younger age groups. They're not going to be making offers under the table. They're not going to be making any promises. As evident by this year, you saw a lot of coaches moving from coach to job, and with them went from Duke to UVA. The athletes followed the coaches, UVA to Mississippi State. Many cases, Mississippi State had student athletes that are looking to go into the portal. So the firm foundation piece to start is slow your process down. Don't worry about, exposure. That's not a component. What really is a component is, what's the realistic expectation for my student athlete? And that all goes back to that evaluation piece. You really must have a firm understanding at maybe every 6-month interval, every year interval, where your athlete is. Are they plateauing? Are they, exceeding expectation? Are they regressing? That's something that should be paramount. Every college coach that I talk to a man, talks about skill set development and strength. That is not up for discussion. That is a firm number one kind of feedback from college coaches, that 90% of the student athletes, they are not physically ready for college baseball, which is going to lead me to point number 2. And that is, and this is where Colonel Jessup is going to start to wear it and, pound the table. And I'm not going to pound the table for theatrical embellishment. I'm just going to say to you, parents of the 8th, 9th, 10th grade athletes, travel baseball, it is absolutely not. And I'm going to get a lot of feedback about this, and I understand it. But what are we doing that for? Legion baseball is making a strong comeback. It's more, it's much more competitive than it had been in the past. And I saw this whole process go with college hockey. And I said this almost a year and a half ago, and it has come to fruition. And that is 20 years ago, college hockey, everybody became a junior hockey. They were being told to leave high school, don't play high school hockey. It's not tough enough. The competition isn't good enough. You're not getting a skill set development. Come to junior hockey, pay a lot of money. And then ultimately, you're pulled out of high school. And then you are basically told to go play hockey in Canada, go play hockey in Iowa, go play hockey in Michigan, and you'll be a college athlete. Well, most of those college athletes were Division III athletes, and they were freshmen when they were 20 years old. And here's what we found out. 20 years later, they all regret missing out on their high school experience. So this is where I'm going to come at you right between the forehead. And that is, travel baseball is now making this new academy / they give it the term post-grad. It's the biggest ripoff known to mankind. And if you as a parent make the decision to send your student athlete to a baseball specific academy because the baseball is better, it's more competitive, the skill set development, the weight room, take online classes. Ask yourself, will the 30-year-old version of my student athlete, will they really be happy with that decision? You know, they didn't get to go to their prom, they get pulled away from their buddies, and they didn't end up at a Division I school, and they didn't get drafted. So what did you really spend all that money, and what did you really take from your son, your daughter? What are you taking from them? You're taking lifetime of memories. And we really need to think about, I talk to a lot of very high-level college coaches all week, and I'm not going to call out these academies by name. That's not my goal here. But I'm just going to tell you that they tell me their admissions department laughs. They're not going to get those guys through. It's just not going to happen. So ask yourself, we are taking the role of high school and we're putting on these goggles that are baseball centric. High school is so much more than athletics. It's so much more than baseball. And I don't want to go down the road about multiple sports. I could care less about that. That's a personal decision for you as parents and a student athlete. But I am going to ask you, community, mentors, faculty, childhood friends, why do you want to pull your student athletes away from all that for the image and the grandeurs of all these dreams about being drafted and playing Division I baseball? Division I baseball is probably going to be the most difficult sport for a high school graduating athlete to participate in, because it's going to be an older game. The coaches want it to be an older game. Major League Baseball wants it to be an older game. They want a better product. Television wants a better product. I could go down a pathway here. There's a lot of big executives that do a lot of big things in this world. And you can put all the pieces together of the puzzle of the television networks and all the advertisements for the television networks and the quality of the game. They want college baseball at the Division I level to be played by men, coached by men, officiated by men. This is a fact. In each year with 34-man rosters, and I've talked ad nauseum about the DSA, 34-man rosters. Look at numbers, 300 colleges at the Division I baseball level. They're going to have 34-man rosters, some cases 35. I'm just using that as an aggregate number. And at least half, and I'm going to say it's going to be more than half. It's really going to be 60, possibly as high as 65% of those are going to be pitchers. And the rest are position players. So if we just take a number and let's just use the number of 17. I think it'll be closer to 20, but I'm going to just err on the side of more position players. So you're talking a little more than 5,500 position players, infielders, catchers, outfielders, DHs, that are going to be playing Division I college baseball. It's a fact. It's a hard number. It's a hard cap. And so now the talent is going to start to be dispersed across all of Division I. And the rule of engagement with regard to recruiting will always be, from this point forward, portal, JUCO graduates, and then it will be the high school guys. There, in the past, it was 10 to 15 high school seniors moving into a recruiting class. Now it's 3 to 5. And of the 3 to 5, I would venture to tell you that 3 are going to be pitchers. And one or two are going to be left-hand hitting outfielders, infielders, or catchers. And you've heard me talk about roster breakdowns and tiers and levels of play. There's many videos I've done on that, but that's just a fact. So parents, we need to have a firm understanding. Travel baseball and the baseball academies they're creating, it's business. It's business. They want your money. And you have to begin to say to yourself, okay, at what point in my baseball career am I going to listen to what I'm being told, which is strength, speed, skill, school? Where do I work on those things? Do I want to keep going to these showcases? Do I want to keep going to these tournaments? And oh, by the way, who's at these tournaments? And am I getting bigger? Am I getting stronger? Am I getting better? At what point do you want to address the elephant in the room when you have a pitcher that's 5'10" and 155 and he throws 87? Nobody cares. He's not big enough. He's not strong enough. He's not going to be durable for a 56-game spring season. And oh, by the way, fall baseball in college, a lot of kids break down because they're not physically prepared. They don't have the endurance that it takes to go through a competitive fall season, where even if they bring in 40 guys, they have to cut 6. And it's a battle of the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, and the most skilled. So here's where Colonel Jessup is going to stand up and look you in the eye and tell you, don't waste your 8th, 9th, 10th, and even 11th grade year chasing games that are not relevant. If you want to play more games, play locally. Play Legion, play Babe Ruth. Don't tell me that they're not as competitive, because that's BS. It's straight up BS. I have kids that play Legion and they're getting recruited just as much as the kids going to these $50,000 a year baseball academies from these people who want to tell you that they're God-fearing people. Meanwhile, they're out in bottle service at strip clubs and they're taking your money. That's a straight up fact. We have juniors in high school that are worried about college, but yet they're not in the weight room. They're not focused on skill set development. And I'm not talking about instruction. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of these college coaches, and I'm talking all levels, all divisions, good men, they laugh at some of the stuff that goes on in social media with regard to skill set guys. And this guy's a hitting guy, this guy's a pitching guy, that guy's a catching guy. I'm going to tell you, there are good and bad in every industry in this world. Good doctors, good attorneys, bad doctors, bad attorneys. There are good instructors, and there are brutally, brutally bad snake oil salesmen that just live by you as parents giving them your money, all with the future prediction of, oh, your son's going to be a really great Division I player. BS with a capital S. You need to prepare for college as 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th graders in the weight room with the skill set development. You need speed, address foot speed. 7'1", 7'2", not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. It's not happening at shortstop or center field, 7'1" or 7'2". You want to hear that now, or do you want to hear that later? When do you want to hear that? And I'm talking to those travel organizations that take the time to shred me on social media. It's just a big facade. It's a facade. Baseball is about talent. If you have talent and you have strength and you have speed, you'll play and you'll get opportunity. If you don't, you'll never see a college baseball field. Never. Division III coaches, Division II coaches, all say the same thing. Walt, we're looking for Division I players that were, on a 40-man roster, and we're just going to wait for it to start raining. And then guess what? All those guys that got promised, how many people do you see decommitting on social media? They're not decommitting. I'm not going to go in the Major League draft. That's because you're not going to get drafted. And you've been told you're not going to get drafted. You're not getting all the money you thought you were going to get. The guy told you were going to get $1 million, and now you're finding out, oh, that's not going to happen. And the college coaches that you thought, oh, man, this guy wants me to be in a rotation on the weekend. And now you're getting a call saying there's no room on the roster for you because you're 180 and you're not strong enough. You're not skilled enough. You're not fast enough. And oh, by the way, at some point, somebody has to begin to tell you as parents, the fall of your student athlete's freshman year, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. And you know why? Because they're going to be really, really intense to see if your student athlete is really ready to handle mentally the challenges that await in the spring. Because if you can't do that in the fall, when you're playing against your own inter squad guys, how are you going to deal with it in a college game when these coaches need you to perform and execute? Which leads me to number 3. This is no longer a question of hey, Tommy, how are you? Chris, how are you? Thank you for joining me. What I really want you to understand is at some point, you have to understand that this college experience is a once in a lifetime situation. Like if you're entering college under the umbrella of, well, I'll just transfer in. I'll go to Division III, then I'll transfer out. I'm going to go from Division III to Division I. It simply does not work like that for the majority. Does it happen? Yes. Can it happen? Yes. Do some boys get, or student athletes get good NIL money? Yes, but not the majority. Not the majority. Are you chasing validation and chasing accolades? Are you chasing money? Because if you are, your student athlete is going to be disappointed. Are there exceptions? Absolutely. I get there are exceptions. But for the majority, which is what I'm referring to when I say this, for the majority, you need to start looking at college like, okay, what am I looking to get from my college experience? Start to take a step back, pull the baseball sunglasses off and put what's the reality? Is this coach going to be here for 4 years or 5 years? I think you're going to end up with 5 years of eligibility. And I just got a question and I want to address that real quick. You're being lied to about JUCO and getting all these extra years. Such BS. Another BS. You can't go to JUCO and get 5 years of NCAA or NAIA eligibility. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It was a one-off. And so many people don't know these rules, and your parents are so like being enlightened by fools because there's no such thing as I'm going to go to JUCO as a 2025 graduate, and then I'm going to go to a school for 4 years, and I'm going to have 4 years of eligibility after my 2 years of JUCO. It's not going to happen. There'll be a compromise, and there'll be 5 years of eligibility someday within your window for 26 through 28 athletes, 29 athletes. But that is not going to happen where you can go to JUCO for 2 and just kind of go grow up and then blow out to Division I. It's not going to happen. It will be 5 years of eligibility, 2 JUCO, 3 4-year school. You need to be aware of that. Do not fall for the BS that's coming out of a lot of people's mouths. And here's the other thing. I just got another comment that just came in, and I'm going to want to read this verbatim because I don't want to really. And I want you to understand, I am not trying to throw a wet blanket on travel baseball for those parents that love the social dynamic, the red solo cups, the travel. Listen, I lived it. I get it. I understand. If you like that component to it and you don't like the local community you live in, you have a personal conflict with a little league coach or a high school coach or whatever, that's great. That's great. That's your world. But the majority, the vast majority of people that I have worked with over the last 38 plus years, their number one takeaway from college was, I met some of my best friends there. My best man at my wedding was I played college baseball with them, or I started a business with one of my buddies. My college coach is still, I invited my college coach to my wedding. There's still a relationship with these college coaches. And if you're not seeking that, don't go and pretend and try to tell a college, oh yeah, I really want my son to play here. And then you go there for a freshman year and then you go to the portal. Why? Oh, I just want to see if I'm better than you, is essentially, I'm paraphrasing. You can give me any excuse in the book, but essentially when you say, coach, I just want to see what's out there, you're basically saying I'm better than your program. You think college coaches appreciate that? I don't think they do. And they're not bad people. College coaches are not bad people. This is not their determination. They have to abide by the rules and regulations that are set forth by their university, their athletic department, and oh, by the way, the NCAA or the NAIA or the NJCAA. They have to abide by those rules and play by those. The next thing I want you to understand, because of the question that came in, I am not trying to tell you travel baseball is evil, but I get a big kick out of those guys that like blow up my DMs, call me all kinds of names. Newsflash, I get it. You're wealthy, right? And you don't want to lose that money train. But I'm just trying to tell you, when a college coach starts to talk to me, the first thing he asks me is, what type of size is he? How is he strong? Is he fast? They don't ask me about statistics in travel baseball. They don't ask me about their records. They don't ask me about spin rates. They don't ask anything about that. Exit velocities. What kind of student is he? What's his height? What's his weight? What is he fast? What kind of kid is this? Is he tough? Is he mentally tough? Is he physically tough? Is he a grinder? Is he resilient? Those are the questions that I get asked. I've never once heard a coach say to me, well, what was his record in high school? What was his record in travel baseball? Nothing. They don't care. They don't care about rankings. They don't care about nothing. They want to know when that kid's feet hit the campus, is he going to be able to contribute to my program and make our program better? Yes or no? Pass or play? So in this whole world of, you get the showcases and you get the travel baseball tournaments, the world is turning, my good man. And the world is turning. It's going back to what was once frowned upon, which was, the days of high school ball, high school coaches interacting with college coaches. Legion. You know why Legion is frowned upon by a lot of people? Is because they actually have tryouts and they actually can only take 18, unlike travel ball, which suddenly they can have rosters 25, 30. Everybody wants to pay, the big money to wear the big super magic shirt. The shirts don't make the athlete. The athletes make the shirts. Period. End of story. So you either want to know that today as a 2026, 2027, 2028, or 2029, or, run into the wall that a lot of the 26s are going to run into, which is, you're not strong enough, you're not skilled enough, you're not fast enough, and your grades aren't good enough. And at some point, you need to have that plan, the evaluation, the realization of who your student athlete actually is and where they're capable of going. Now, an athlete who is actually watching this now, I'm not going to blow smoke up his rear end, but I want to tell you, you need to understand the significance of a plan of attack with regard to a routine that you can take with you from high school to college and make that transition extremely smooth. That needs to be done yesterday. That needs to be done yesterday. And the sooner you do that, the better off your student athlete will be, I promise you. I'm going to have a dialogue with a couple families that I've worked with. One is going to the Air Force Academy. Another is going to a post-grad school. And everything that I'm sharing with you tonight, I shared with them 2 years ago. And because they kind of utilize that with regard to their processes, they ended up in a situation where their collective college experience is something that their student athlete is genuinely excited about, not just for 1 year, but for 4 or 5 years. Next on this list is really academics. Now, this bores the heck out of people, and I get it. You know, not everyone is going to go to college. Not everybody's excited about going to college. In fact, colleges and universities are struggling with their enrollment numbers. And I'm not talking from an athletic perspective. I'm just talking about as an industry. And that is because we have content creators that are young. We have gamers that, you know, they earn income from gaming. They have colleges now that are popping up with regard to vocations, you know, carpentry, electricians, et cetera, et cetera. But the academic component to college is really a big topic that we do not talk enough about. And I really want parents to understand those 2027s, 28s, and 29s, you just want to make sure you are creating a good, solid transcript, because there is a lot of academic money that is available, not based on test scores, based on transcripts. And when I say transcripts, I'm talking about community service. I'm talking about involvement within the high school, whether it's, you know, for different clubs, theater, music, anything within the community of the high school. The transcript is really a way to get financial merit money, scholarship money, grant money, things of that nature. And more college coaches, because of the lower mid, I don't want to call them mid-major, the Division ones that aren't in the P4, Division 2, Division 3, they have money that they can allocate based on the strength of the transcript, you know, the community service components and all of that, because these student athletes will be a great member of the student body, not only with regard to the baseball program, but just the student body and the faculty and the administration. And that's a big deal. It's becoming a bigger deal now because the athletic money is really being sucked into the bigger schools with these transient plug and play type athletes. That is the minority, and they're not the majority. So I really want that to be the key takeaway from tonight. And so, you know, what I want, one thing for parents to understand is this. I did not come on here today on a Saturday night to take time away with my wife on a Saturday evening. I'm not trying to take up your time on a Saturday evening. In fact, these types of videos hurt my YouTube channel because the average watch time is greatly reduced. But I think this needs to be said and it needs to be heard. Your next 2, 3, 4 years for some of you, if you're the 29, 30 class and entering high school, you need to understand you're chasing a narrative that is antiquated. It's gone. Everything that was pre-2024 is no longer applicable. And even 2025, if we're being honest, it's a whole different world. And so, you know, all of these showcases, the more money you spend, the more invites you get. Okay, I get it. I lived it. I understand it. But it's meaningless in the overall perspective with regard to college recruiting. They value some of those evaluators, but, you know, the ranking, it doesn't really matter. The number of tournaments you play in, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is when you get to that point, and I know a lot of 25s are there and they're frustrated. Trust me, I hear from a lot of them. When you are 26 and 27 and 28, 29, and it's your time, you have to ask yourself, am I strong enough? Am I fast enough? Am I big enough? Most importantly, am I skilled enough? Physically and mentally skilled enough to be a college student athlete? Salve Regina, Division 3 school. I have parents that won't even listen when I bring Division 3 up. No, I don't think so. We'd like to go Division 2. We'd like to go Division 1. We'll even go to the SWAC. Yeah, those days are gone. Now, Division 3 is just as big as Division 1. Division 2 is just as big as Division 1. JUCO, There's a lot of great JUCO programs across the country, and I'm being perfectly honest with you. On any given day, could be any of the Power Four teams. That's just a fact. Why? Their athletes are skilled, they're fast, they're strong, and they're going to where they can play. But the realities are JUCO, Division III, Division II. You need to hear the realities of JUCO, NCAA Division III, NCAA Division II. They have developmental teams. They have JV teams. They're bringing in 60 guys, 70 guys, 80 guys. Is your student athlete going to be ready to compete against those numbers? Do you really want to play portal bingo? Do you really think you're going to find a spot where you can bingo? I'm the winner here. It does not the majority. There are exceptions, and there are minority guys that, when I say minority, I mean a finite number of student athletes that will find their way. Johnson University, the biggest season they ever had before Dave Serrano showed up, they might have had 5 wins. Now they have like 35 wins. They're in the tournament. And Johnson University is getting guys from the East Coast and the West Coast. Johnson University, NAI. You probably never heard of it. Messiah, Division III school. I bring those names up to parent. Messiah. I don't know. Yeah, they played in the Division III World Series. And I want you to understand Division II, Sunshine State, going to Northeast 10, Assumption, Southern New Hampshire, really good baseball. And a lot of the athletes that are going to these showcases and parents that are spending thousands of dollars on travel, hotels, food, tournaments. So my son plays for the super level Empire State Major World Series Championship program. And then he's going to go to their baseball academy because their coaches are better. They're not going to be able to play at these schools. And look at where some of these kids are going. They're going to Division II, Division III schools, and they were like spending big money to play on these big mega travel teams at 8 years old. So they were part of the family from 8U all the way up. Such a crock. It's a crock. It's a total crock. And I have watched family after family after family in the 24 and 25 class run at 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. And I don't say, oh, I told you so. I simply tell them it's a lot tougher than you thought it was, right? Because you thought you were going to be able to go to Division II and they have no room. You thought you were going to go to Division III and they have no room. And now what do I do? Again, there are a finite number of roster spots. Parents keep coming back to me with, well, there's 50,000 college players. A lot of the college players are 23, 24, and in some cases 25. They're not leaving so quick. And you, as an 18 or 19, you're not on that level because you didn't take the time to prepare to be a college student athlete. So if you're going to go play 100 games a year, which I'm told is really beneficial for your skill set development, or you're going to go in the weight room every day and either work on speed, skill, or strength. You're going to have a plan so that in 2028, 2027, you actually get a call from a coach that said, hey, I think you can help us. Which is what the end goal actually is. And you don't want to tell a coach, I want to go to you for a year and can I transfer out and try to go Division I? What are you telling that coach? And I had a young man say that to a coach the other day. And I couldn't believe it came out of his mouth. But that's what he's been told. And to me, that is a defeatist attitude. And I don't think any reputable college coach wants you to rub his face in. Yeah, I'll just come to you for a year because I'm better than your program. And then there'll be a spot that will open up and then I'll go. So, and I spoke to Lehigh today, by the way, Jeff, and they are thrilled. I'm going to be able to share that with you tomorrow or Monday, but spoke to a lot of college coaches that have recruited the 25 high school athlete and are dealing with the portal. And they all come back and say, well, And college coaches, I was stunned to find out. Some guys like me, some guys don't, and that's okay. And some guys told me right to my face, I disagree with what you're doing, and that's fine. The ones that, have come back to me and say, hey, well, I get a kick out of watching you, but you're telling it like it is. And I really want you to tell parents, here's the bottom line. Out of all the kids that we go see at the tournaments and the showcases, that pay a lot of money, and I'm being kind with this percentage, 90% will never, ever, ever, ever play college baseball. And 10% might. And of that 10%, it's the strongest, both mentally and physically. It's the most skilled. It's the fastest. That's what it takes to play college baseball. So 90% are spinning their wheels and they're not going anywhere. They're the same guy that they were as a sophomore in high school, they are as a senior in high school, and they're regressing. And all they did was spend time chasing tournaments, chasing showcases, chasing, because I'm told that I've paid all this money since I've been 8 years old on 8U, 9U, 10U, 12U, and I'm supposed to be going to college because they have a program that sent 500 guys to college Division I in the Northeast. And I'm just telling you that is going to lead a lot of people to be very unhappy, because the new world of college baseball, Major League Baseball, is going to start to make rule changes. And then the trickle down is going to start to happen just like it did 4 years ago in 2022, 21, 22. And the same thing's going to happen in 26 or 27. So hear me, and hear me loud and clear. You might not want to hear what I'm telling you, and you may think I'm wrong, but at some point you need to hear what the college coaches are actually saying. They still want to recruit the high school athlete. That's the foundation. But the high school athlete has to be ready for the college game. So it's not that they don't want to recruit high school athletes. They want to recruit frontline pitching. They want to recruit left-handed bats. They want to recruit speed, size, strength, skill, 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 SKILL. You're not developing it playing 2 innings, pitching 2 innings in a game in Georgia against pool play, and the team is 0-4. You're not developing it going 1 for 5 and putting a video out of you getting to second base and all this stuff. You're not going to get to college doing all that stuff. And all those that advocate that and the bat flips and the whole 9 yards, okay, have fun. But if having fun doesn't get you on a college campus and doesn't get you to play college baseball and doesn't get you to play professional baseball, what was the point of it? If you're just playing it because you enjoy the game, you want to have some fun, and you're really not chasing college or pro ball, that's great. But if you are chasing college and you want to play college, and here's the other thing, let's talk about college experience. Ages 18 through 23, let's call it 24, 6 years to be the final frontier of being a kid. What do you want your student athlete to learn in college? And I'm not talking about in the classroom. Do you want them to learn accountability? Do you want them to understand routine? How about accountability? How about being accountable for your actions? Do you want them to understand how to provide, how to do their own clothes, how to know how to cook? Do you want them to get involved in the community and learn about how to become an adult that can have a quality of life, just a quality of life? You don't want to be in the basement every day playing video games. You don't want to sleep till noontime. That's not what real world is all about. No matter how successful you are as parents, your children at some point have to get into that mindset of, okay, I have to provide for myself. I have to provide for a future family. I'm either going to own a business, work at a business, start a business. College, 18 to 23, 24. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to be realistic. And the number one takeaway from college is maturation, mental and physical maturation. Likes and dislikes begin to change. Your student athlete becomes an adult. They know who they want to hang around with. They know, more importantly, who they don't want to hang around with. They know what they like. And again, more importantly, they know what they don't like. It's not just about the classroom. It's about the culture. It's about the social. It's about the interactions between mature adults. It's about understanding you can't always get what you want, Mick Jagger. You have to understand there's going to be ebb, flow, ups, downs, disappointment. Oh, by the way, I have to work. I have to work hard. I have to compete. I have to compete for opportunity. And I have to execute. I have to be aware that execution matters. Being able to be a part of a team, to be a student athlete in good standing that is a part. I am not the whole. I am a part. And that's what makes the world go round. It makes friendships, relationships, rapport, being able to communicate. And this is what the college experience is all about. Now, many of you have listened with Matt Tyner when Matt Tyner comes on here, the head coach at Townsend State. And I've spent some time with him while he's up here in New England at the Show Ball. And I got to tell you, that guy, he says it like it is. And that's his book over here behind me. But my point is Matt Tyner is a mentor. All the college coaches gravitate to Matt Tyner. All his athletes, they get something over and above baseball from Matt Tyner. Tim Corbin. To this day, Tim Corbin and my son talk maybe once a month. They don't talk baseball. They talk about Tim's grandchildren. They talk about Tyler's children. It's having that mentor in your life, that meaningful person in your life that is over and above a baseball coach. So I'm going to wrap this up by simply saying, first of all, I appreciate those of you that have taken the time to watch this live. I appreciate that. I want to encourage you again. You know, the Baseball Blue Book, it's a free gosh darn app. The Baseball Blue Book been around since 1909. It's free. For the love of goodness, create a gosh darn profile and start putting out there some of your goals and push your student athlete to be more proactive. We're way too reactive and we're way too reliant on people that have a financial interest in telling you what you want to hear. We have to become proactive. We have to go against the grain. We have to begin to understand, here's your evaluation. This is who your student athlete is. Good, bad, or indifferent. And here's where he needs to get to. And here's how you can get there. And oh, by the way, people like Cressy and Fairchild and Moffitt, all of these strength people, they're far more valuable to your student athlete. And I don't make a single penny from any of these people. I'm just telling you as a parent that's lived it. Ben Fairchild, Tommy Moffitt, Eric Cressy. To this day, 16 years later, they're still involved with my sons. And these people will alter your son, your student athlete's life over and above baseball. Nutrition habits, sleep habits, hydration habits, good, healthy hygiene, healthy lifestyles, so that your student athlete can have a quality of life. They're far more deserving of your time and your money and your resources than trying to play 40 games over the course of the spring and fall. If you like to play, great, but the travel teams are not going to get you to the next level. Again, the majority, I know there's lots of people and there's lots of good travel organizations. You've heard me say their names countless times, but there's also ones that are starting to take your money, pretend they are a baseball school, a postgraduate school. They're a baseball academy. They're a baseball academy that you're paying money to so that your son can sit in front of a computer and go on an online class. Is that really school? What kind of social interaction is that? Sitting in front of a computer, walk in the hallways, talk to teachers, talk to students, talk to coaches. Not everybody gets to win. Not everybody gets to start. You have to compete. You have to compete. Now, there are boys that 4 years ago, at 12 years old, 12, and there's boys that I talk to, parents that I talk to, are boys that are 11, 12, 13. Those boys today at 16, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're better. They didn't make a Little League All-Star team. They didn't play travel baseball and travel all over, giving up their all summer. No, they didn't. They made the decision to take an evaluation and create a game plan that worked to them. They execute the game plan. They're in the gym. They're bigger. They're faster. They're stronger. And oh, by the way, at 15, as freshmen and sophomores in high school, they have a foundation that will allow them to become a college student athlete. Doesn't have to be Division I, doesn't have to be Division II. It can be NAIA, it can be Division III. Some of the best academic universities in the world are NCAA Division III. Johns Hopkins, Bates, Bowdoin, Tufts, Colby, Wesleyan, Hamilton, Amherst, Ohio Wesleyan. I mean, NYU, Chicago. I mean, I could go on and on. But my point is that if you're planning and all you're doing is playing travel baseball, going to a baseball academy, and you're pinning your hopes and putting all your eggs into that basket. In today's world, it's going to bring disappointment, lots and lots of disappointment. And who are you going to blame? It's not the people you gave money to, because they're the ones buying the fancy cars, they're doing the bottle service. And trust me, I know all of them. I know how this game works. And now a lot of these travel programs are now name, image, and likeness agents and advisors helping you for a handsome 20% of your student athletes, name, image, and likeness. 20%. Oh, by the way, NCAA trying to cap that at 5%. I hope that happens. And I hope they regulate that, because a lot of kids are getting really, really bad advice, leaving colleges, better situations that they get money for a year, they don't play, and then they're cut. Not so good. So on that note, happy Saturday. Jacob, thank you very much. Scott, thank you very much. Joe Schmo, okay. If someone won't look at Salve, they're nuts. Most beautiful place. Now, Joe Schmo, I like the name. I'm going to tell you right now, Salve Regina and Eric Sorella, I know a lot of these coaches. Salve Regina is probably one of the most beautiful college campuses in the country. And you won't go look at them because they're Division III. And I have Division I portal guys that will say to me, well, we're really not interested in Rhode Island. We want to be down south. The whole point of me doing this thing tonight is you're not in control. You think you're in control. You're not in control. I'd like to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Fabio 20, 30 years ago, but I'm 62. That's the reality, and I'm not going to look like that. And so you think, as student athletes and parents of student athletes, that you're going to get to choose. Oh, he wants to go Division I. Oh, he wants to go Ivy League, or he wants to go SEC or ACC. Well, that's good, but then you're not going to be ready for those. Again, majority. There are exceptions. I get it. Just because my son went to the SEC doesn't mean that your son gets to go to the SEC. And I have a son that wasn't good enough, and he had to go to the JUCO route, and then he had to go NAIA, and he had a great college career. And that was his experience. That was his journey. That was his pathway. So parents, you're not going to get to choose, oh, well, I'll take an Ivy League, I'll take a business degree, and I want to start as a catcher my freshman or sophomore year. Yeah, that's not how it goes. Here's how it goes. College coaches are going to evaluate your student athlete, and some of them you've never heard of before. And they're going to offer you, like Worcester in Ohio, Tyler, Texas. You're going to hear from these coaches, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. You should no longer be dismissing any college coach that reaches out to your student athlete and says, we like what we see, and we'd like you to come on campus to visit campus. The days of you saying, well, we're thinking a little bit different. Now, if it doesn't fit academically, meaning your son or student athlete is going for mechanical engineering or business, and that school is more of a liberal arts or criminal justice, completely understand. and you should be upfront and say, at this time, coach, I'm really looking for a school with engineering, mechanical engineering, fire prevention engineering, whatever that specific major is. But you should never dismiss out of hand any college coach that contacts you and that has interest in your student athlete. That should not be occurring. And so, again, I want to say thank you to everyone. Jacob, what, any tips for players? I'm not a parent. Nick. Okay, now, Nick, you and I have been talking for years. My son just came off his freshman season, Division I baseball, and there isn't a single thing. Oh, now, Nick, for those of you that can't, and Robert, I'm going to talk about your situation. Nick Biddle. Now, Nick is someone I've only met through social media. He's made a comment here on my YouTube page. Could be from Facebook, I'm not sure. Nick's son plays Division I baseball. Now, I talked to Nick years ago. And he and I communicated direct message. Again, most of these people, there's no monetary money changing hands here. This is just me talking to people. But this is a fact. Everything that I told Nick that would happen has happened. And he's prepared for it. So again, I just have to ask parents, at what point do you want to hear a true what's really happening and what's going to happen? And that's what we need to start really having these discussions, these honest, frank, candid discussions. It's not to say travel ball stinks. It's okay. At what point is your student athlete going to prepare physically, strength, speed, skill? And I'm not talking about practicing with the travel team or taking lessons with the travel team or the instructor that works for the travel team. I'm talking about, when are you going to really get down to, okay, here's where your student athlete is, here's where he needs to be, if he wants to be a middle infielder, if he wants to be a catcher, et cetera, et cetera. Strength, skill, size, speed, and school. At what point are you going to address it? Create a plan. That's the question you have to ask yourself. And Robert, your son got DSA from an SEC school. If you're a DSA athlete, are you still allowed to receive revenue sharing? Yes, if you're at the same school. Meaning, if you're at an SEC school, which is one of those Power 4 conferences that will have revenue sharing. That's the other thing that a lot of parents just don't have any idea. And I'm going to say it again. Revenue sharing at the schools that opted in is basically $22.5 million. And so the football will eat up 80% of that budget. Basketball will eat up 10 to 15%. Okay, if we're good at math, we're up to 90 or 95%. And 5% has to go to all the Olympic sports, the female sports, the men's sports, which baseball is one of them. So we're not talking about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for the whole. That'll be spread out to the really productive members of the teams. And so if your athlete is a DSA, one, they can never be counted against the cap. And I'm going to be talking about this upcoming Tuesday. And they cannot be cut based on a roster cap decision. They can be cut because they're not good enough, they're not fast enough, et cetera, but they can't be cut from a roster cap perspective. So you can still participate in the revenue sharing. So I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to ask everyone again, I went way too long. If you can, please consider subscribing. It's free. If you're on Twitter and you watch this on X, please go to YouTube, Coach Beede, hit subscribe. Engage with this video on YouTube. Hit thumbs up. Ask a comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me you don't like what I said. Tell me you like what I said. Comment. Engage. That helps with regard to the algorithm. The next thing is, I've created so many courses, and to date, I've sold this many, that many. And I think the courses are really good. The college coaches think they're really good. In fact, Tim Corbin told me that, this is a fact. Tim Corbin said this is one of the best courses on this topic that I've ever heard. Matt Tyner. I talked to Matt Tyner about it. I talked to Dave Serrano about it. They're all available on my YouTube channel under membership section. Now, membership, YouTube consultants tell me you shouldn't do membership because people don't want to pay for that. But I'm saying to you, if you're a parent, why do you want to spend thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, when for $20 a month, you and I can talk, we can interact, I can evaluate your videos, create your Blue Book profile. You have courses on there. You have courses, you're going to have content from infield coaches that are highly respected, catching coaches, pitching coaches, my son, Matt Tabor, the Lions Den, Brett Saberhagen. You're going to have mental performance coaches, Tamara Seaman. You're going to have nutritionists, strength coaches, Cressy, Fairchild, Moffitt. You're going to have access to all that every single month. Starting in August, we'll have 2 videos from all of those different sectors so that you can begin to map out your plan and create your path for your journey. Now, it's $20 per month. If you after 1 month don't think it's worth it, don't bother. But if you are a member of the YouTube channel, you should be interacting with me. You should be engaging with me. Hey, I have a question. Here's my student athlete. Tell me what does this video look like to you? Does he have any shot at playing at this level academically? What do we need to do? And here's the other thing. When you're working with these people, Ivy Leagues, all Ivy Leagues are not created the same. They're not created the same. They do not have the same admission standard. Some are test optional, some are not. Some need a high test score, some do not. Some are looking for very, very different, unique transcripts, meaning the inclusion of community service and all the things I've talked to you. When do you want to know all that? Don't you want to know that as a freshman and begin to build that out? So at the end of your junior year, you have a really prolific transcript and all of these great, secondary community service and projects, because you took the time to figure all that out early enough to create one. So I want to say thank you to everybody that does belong to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Engage with me, please. Interact. Send me a direct message. If you're a parent, you watch this video, follow me or just send me a message. Send me an email. walter@coachbeede.com. You can send me a DM on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can send me a Facebook message. I'm available. I talk to parents literally all year long because direct messaging, some I'll talk to on the phone. This is just a passion. I love baseball. And I have relationships that are in some cases 50 years old, where I've grown up with certain people. I've coached and played with and against certain people. I've gotten to know a lot of coaches over the years. I respect them. Some coaches agree with me, some coaches do not. Some coaches like what I do, some don't. But the bottom line is my track record. If I put all the parents in one room of 38 years, of all the parents that I've ever worked with, they will all say to a parent, I didn't believe you at first, or I didn't trust you at first, or I really didn't appreciate your brutal, candid comments. But man, my son went to the school, he got a degree, he graduated, he played all 4 years. The guys that I work with, they don't go into the portal. They don't go into the portal. They don't transfer. They have a full college career. Tulane, Vanderbilt, Dayton. I could go on and on. I mean, I can tell you story after story. And they're not all major leaguers. They're not all guys that started, but they had a heck of a time at their college and university. Many of them are in their mid to late 30s now. So it's the proof is in the pudding. And I had a parent tell me, this guy charges $10,000. You don't charge enough. I gotta think this guy that's charging $10,000, he's got to be better than you because he's making his time worth it. I'm at a loss there. See the guy over this shoulder right here? 32 years old, still playing baseball. He has a degree from one of the most prestigious high schools in the country, and he has a degree from a very, very elite academic university. And his student debt, and he relied on his right arm. So I've lived this as a dad. I've lived this as a coach. I've lived this as an athlete. And I get a kick out of all these people. My son went to University of Central Florida, and I know I was a head coach of a travel ball program, and this is what you need to do. It's not that way. It's not that way. It doesn't work that way. College coaches aren't going to pick up a phone and say, "Hey, Walt, send me your guy because I have to do you a solid." They want to know, Walt, can your guy play? I've had college coaches say, Walt, I don't think you're right here, but I'm going to trust you this time because you were right on the other guy. And then that guy ended up being a weekend starter in the SEC. And he doesn't throw 90. Okay. So my point to you as parents, do your homework, create a game plan, reach out to me. I hope this helps. It's very, very long. Please engage with the video, and I will talk with you all on Tuesday night. Have a great week in baseball. I know the summer season is wrapping up. Word to the wise, spend time with your kids now, because when they go to college, you won't see them as much as you think you will.